So this is the graph for the producer's equilibrium for the MR and MC approach. This can be named as Q1 and Q2. So is it similar to the notes?
Yeah. This is similar to the notes, except
So for your firm is an equilibrium. That is, it maximizes profits when it produces that quantity of output at which MR is equal to MC.
marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost.
Yeah.
How is it maximizing profits then?
It's maximizing profits when MC is equal to MR at points A, at points E.
No, but how is it making profits? Because we are only covering the costs, right?
In so does the quantity increase when the MR increases and the MC increases from a diminishing rate?
Huh?
The quantity does increase, right, for a constant price.
Tamina,
Yeah.
okay, so what I'm see, I'll tell you what I understood from this. I understood that
See, the price is constant in this.
so with every additional your marginal revenue is increasing,
Increasing,
okay,
yes.
for every product. So how is the MC equal to MR?
And there's another condition. This first one is MC is equal to MR. The second condition is when MC becomes greater than MR. More output is produced. So in this graph, the equilibrium is at E.
And break-even point is at A, right?
Yeah.
So at any point above E and above A, the firm is incurring loss
Yes.
because MC is more than MR.
Yes. But now that condition. So in this graph, the equilibrium is at E and the equilibrium output is OQ, right? Or OQ2. At point A, MC is equal to MR, right?
Yeah, that is the
But
break-even
this
point.
is not equilibrium.
That is break-even, right?
Yeah, that's the break-even point. Yep. But break-even is only for total cost equal to total revenue, right?
So what is point R then? A.
Because beyond A,
No, point A will be what then?
MC is lower than MR. Because after A, the MC is becoming lower than MR, this point. This is when MC is equal lower than MR. After point A, MC is lower than MR. And only at the point E, it reaches MR again and it's at an equilibrium point. And therefore, it is in the interest of the firm to produce more and add profits. Therefore, output level at which and more than MR. Where is MC more than MR? After the point E?
Yeah, after point E and before point A.
That is the equilibrium. Yeah. So at point E, it's the equilibrium. So point E,
Samyana,
yeah. Equilibrium output.
Determination of equilibrium price and output under perfect competition.
Yeah.
That is a part of what? That is a part of this only. That's a continuation of this.
Which concept exactly?
Uh, Determination of equilibrium price and output under perfect competition.
Yeah, that is under
Three
this.
situations
Yes.
in a short time.
Yes. It is under this.
Yeah.
It's under cost and revenue itself. So this is these are the two approaches. So this is the producer equilibrium for MR and MC approach. And we derived total revenue and total cost approach in the previous session. So MC cuts the MR curve from below, as we see here, right?
Yeah.
Cuts the MR curve from below at point E. So is this explanation clear for the MR and MC approach? So we just, when they give us problem or I don't know how they ask you to present in the exam, but this can be the explanation which can be given for the MR and MC approach.
Okay.
So as long as the cost of producing another unit remains less than the revenue received from sale of additional unit, a producer won't wander away from his path of earning profits. So as long as the producer is getting less revenue than more cost, he will definitely want to produce more units of products, right?
Less revenue and more cost. Yeah.
Yeah.
But won't that
Till he
increase the
reaches
cost
the
as well?
equilibrium. Yeah.
No, but won't that increase the cost as well?
That does increase the cost, but he would want to increase revenue more than cost. Therefore, he would want to reach this point at E.
Got it.
So is this explanation clear? Because it's been mentioned, all points are being mentioned. Is it the
Yeah.
same as in the textbook or
In
in the
my
notes?
notebook, the
Yeah.
explanation is not so clear. I don't think I've written a rule that is marginal revenue and marginal cost approach. There are three rules that must be satisfied for the profits to be maximum and for the firm to be in equilibrium. A rule to decide whether or not to produce in the short run. Rule one. In the short run, a firm should produce if and only P or AR, average revenue, is more than average variable cost, or total revenue is more than total variable cost. The nature of cost incurred by a firm consists of fixed cost and variable cost. When the price drops so low that revenues are insufficient to pay variable costs, the firm can avoid these costs by stopping production. And if it decides to resume production later, it's a situation of shutdown where loss equals firm's fixed cost. It
Okay.
is only when losses of a firm are less than equal to losses in it is only when losses of a firm are less than equal to losses in shutdown, the firm decides to produce. Otherwise, it is better to stop production altogether. This means P is equal to average variable cost. Firm is covering variable cost and no fixed cost.
Okay.
Therefore, the firm would like to produce in view of lesser amount of losses. From this follows the first rule. Price or average revenue is more than average variable cost.
Okay. So that is
So you,
when equilibrium firm in perfect competition, right? And the short run.
yeah,
So that is under short run, which is derived given with an explanation and diagram, and the shutdown point and break-even point. But is this graph different from that approach what you just read out?
from what no, this one is actually for this one only. This explanation is for this, but I
Because
did
this is
not.
the produce equilibrium for the profit maximization goal. And this is
Yeah,
the MR and MC approach along with the diagram.
yeah, and even this is for the MR and MC approach only. Yeah, do you want me to read it again?
You can just send it on the WhatsApp. So just go
Yeah,
through because that what you read out is in the next concept is on the market forms. It's under equilibrium of a firm in perfect competition on the short run. There is a shutdown point and break-even point with an explanation and diagram. Because this is the MRNMC approach. This is a very simple graph for the MRNMC approach.
yeah. The graph is pretty simple.
Yeah,
I just like
but
to
there is
look
no
into the
variable cost mentioned here in the MRNMC approach for the profit maximization. It's better to follow this approach.
yeah. A firm is in equilibrium that is maximizes profits when it produces that quantity of output at which one MC is equal to MR.
Yeah,
MC becomes greater than MR.
yeah, more output is
MR
produced.
more output is produced. In this graph, equilibrium is at point E and the output is OQ2, correct? At point A, MC is equal to MR as well, but this is not equilibrium because it is in the interest of the firm to produce more and add to profits. Therefore, output level at which MC is equal to MR and beyond which MC is more than MR is the equilibrium. Got it. Yeah, this is a better explanation. I mean, to understand, I think this was easier.
And after point A, MC is lower than MR. And after point E, MC is greater than MR.
After point E,
E,
MC.
MC is greater than MR.
Hmm.
At point E, this is the equilibrium. So E is the equilibrium output. So this can be actually named as output. It's not can be price or quantity. Can be output and quantity is the same, right?
Yeah. Output and quantity is basically how much the firm has been producing, right?
Yes. So we can just name this as output or quantity. So it's better to follow this. You can just send the other explanation given the notes, the full explanation. I just go through it. Yeah, I've just been sent. So yeah, the graph is similar to this, but the explanation is a bit longer, right?
Yeah, and this has something more to do with the rules. There's another photo, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, yeah. Because in this, it's the same, margin revenue and margin cost. These were three rules that must be satisfied. We have gone with the two rules. There is another rule called average revenue is more than average variable cost. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So we have followed two conditions. We have mentioned that rule 2 and rule 3, right? Here. So we've just not gone through. So this first one, this can be named as the rule 1, rule 2, sorry. This can be rule 2 as mentioned in the notes. It's the rule 2. And the second condition here, this can be mentioned as the rule 3. And the rule 1 we have not mentioned here. We will just go through that also. Yeah. So these are the explanation for rule 2 and rule 3. So for the rule 1, what they say is it's a big explanation. In the short run, a firm should produce. We will just go through rule 1. But that's not depicted in the graph in the notes. That's fine. Okay. In the short run, a firm should produce if and only if PR, right? If PR, AR is more than AVC or average variable cost,
Yeah.
or TR is more than
P stands for profit, right? Or price.
P is for profit. It's
Profit.
for it is actually, what is it mentioned in the notes? It's actually price.
Price. They haven't mentioned it anywhere, whether it's price or profit. So I am assuming it's price.
Because
Because P usually stands for price and Q stands for
price.
quantity, right?
P or price or average revenue, yes, which is more than average variable cost, also known as total revenue is more than total variable cost. And the nature of cost incurred by a firm consists of fixed cost and variable cost. You know that, right? There are only two costs, which
Yeah.
are
Fixed and variable. Fixed
yeah,
cost is like electricity charge, rent
yes,
payable. Variable cost is like wages.
yeah. and machinery costs are all fixed costs. Yeah. When the price drops so low that revenues are insufficient to pay variable costs, the firm can avoid these costs by stopping production. And if it decides to assume production later, it is a situation of shutdown, where what is the point mentioned in the explanation after shutdown where it's equal to firm's fixed cost, average fixed cost. And if and only when when losses of a firm are less than equal to loss in shutdown, the firm decides to produce, otherwise it's better to stop production altogether. This is known as P is equal to ABC. Firm is covering variable cost and no fixed cost. Therefore, the firm would like to produce in lesser amount of losses. Then this follows the first rule, P or average revenue is more than average variable cost. Brackets or total revenue is more than total variable cost. So for the first rule, P or average revenue is equal to more than average variable cost. There's shutdown point as well. So what is the shutdown point? So we did the concept of shutdown point in main market forms. It when a firm stops production altogether.
Because and the reason for shutdown point is because the firm's losses are now not able to cover the fixed costs as well, right?
Yes,
Or when the firm is not able to cover the fixed costs as well.
not able to cover the fixed cost. Yeah. So it stops production at a shutdown point. So this means price equal to average variable cost. Firm is covering variable cost and no fixed cost. So is this the correct point?
No, 1 second. So in the shutdown point, the firm is covering the variable cost, but it's not able to cover the fixed cost, is it?
Yes.
I thought at the yeah. But I thought at shutdown point, the firm is not able to cover any of the costs.
There are 2 points for shutdown points. For shutdown point, one is where the price drops so low that revenues are insufficient to pay variable costs. The firm can avoid these costs by stopping production. And if it decides to assume production later, it's a return, or what is it? It's a saturation, is it? It is a situation of shutdown where you can just read out the point in the notes for the rule 1 in the fourth line of the rule 1. It's the fifth line. You can just read it out because it's not
The
so
nature
clear.
of cost incurred by a firm consists of, yeah, fixed and variable costs.
Yes. You can just read in the rule 1, the sixth line. Yeah.
When the price drops so low that revenues are insufficient to pay variable costs, The firm can avoid these costs by stopping production, and if it decides to resume production later, it's a situation of shutdown where loss equals firm's fixed cost.
Yeah. So
So that
one
means
route is loss
at
is
the
equal
shutdown
to,
point, they are not able to pay either fixed or variable costs, right?
yes, in one point. And next point is it's only when losses of firm are less than equal to losses in shutdown. The firm
Are
decides to
less
produce, otherwise it's better to stop
it
production
will stop
altogether.
production altogether.
This means P is
So
equal to
basically,
ABC.
the losses are not as much as they were in shutdown point. So it
Yeah,
is better for the firm to produce, right?
yes. So in the second point, it's mentioned P is equal to average variable cost. Firm is covering variable costs and no fixed costs.
Yeah.
And therefore, the firm would like to produce lesser amount of losses. From this follows the first rule: price or average revenue is more than average variable cost, or total revenue is more than total variable cost. So just follow this explanation for the rule 1 and mention it as, and the graph is very similar, right? It's same as this. Just follow the rule 1 explanation. We just mentioned here. So losses are when more cost is incurred than more revenue, right? But the losses, if it increase too much, the firm can shut down.
Yeah. So basically, when the firm is not able to cover fixed costs or variable costs,
Variable cost. Okay.
so it is better to stop production as soon as you can't cover your variable costs. And it
Yeah.
is, and if you don't, you will eventually start not being able to cover your fixed costs as well,
Okay.
and then you will reach a point of shutdown, right?
Shut down. Yes. So is this clear? This graph and explanation. So
Yeah.
you just have to draw the graph and write the rules, 3 rules. Where firm there's a shutdown point, or when price is more than, or price is equal to average revenue more than average variable cost. And the rule 2 is MC is equal to MR, where marginal cost is equal to MR or margin revenue. And third rule is when MC becomes greater than MR. So for equality of marginal cost with margin revenue, for profit maximization rather than profit minimization, it is sufficient that the marginal cost less than the MR at slightly lower output, and that the MR exceeds MR for slightly higher output. In geometric terms, MC curve cuts the MR curve from below, as shown in the graph here. It's cutting MR curve at point E from below, right?
Yeah.
And this is explained with the help of the graph here. And MC is equal to MR at two output levels, Q1 and Q2, right?
Yeah.
And R is the break-even point. We have just named it differently compared to
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
notes.
You basically named it A, and yeah, I got
Yeah,
that.
we have named as A and E, and in the graph they have named it as B, R,
Q0
and
and
E, right?
Q. Yeah, and Q0 and Q1, but here is Q1,
Yeah.
Q2. Yeah, I got it.
And R is the break-even point as the firm covers its cost for the first time. MC curve cuts MR curve from above, sorry, at
Yeah.
A, which is
At
at
the
point
that is the
R.
break even point, and when it cuts it from below, it is the point of equilibrium
Yeah,
or
it would
maximum.
be, yes, it's profit maximization. So it would be profitable to expand BOQ O level or Q1 level up to Q2 or Q1 in the
Yeah,
notebook output level
it is advised.
at point E or output level OQ. Yeah.
Yeah,
So at
a firm
point
should.
E or output level OQ2, it's considered as the profit maximizing output.
Yeah.
As change in other in the others in either would reduce profit. So at OQ2, it's considered as the profit maximum output as change in either point E or OQ2 will reduce the profit. So if there's a change in E or OQ2, there'll be a reduction. There'll be a reduction in profit. At point E or output level OQ2, MR is equal to MC, and MC curve cuts MR curve from below, as shown on the graph. And therefore, in terms of MR and MC approach, there are two conditions to be met for profit maximization. Which are the two conditions?
Condition for profit maximization.
Yeah, in terms of MR and MC approach.
The equilibrium, the firm should produce only till point OQ2, and
Where
marginal
MC is
cost is
equal to MR.
MC is marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue. Yeah.
And the second order condition is MC curve cuts MR
Yeah, that was
curve
I
from
said that
below.
first. MC has to touch has to produce from has to produce till only till OQ2 and not more than that. And
Yeah.
MC is equal to MR. These are the
Yes,
two
that
points.
those are the two order conditions. And this has to
And
be
so
the graph.
in this there is rule number 3 also, no? Sorry, rule number 1.
Yeah, rule number 1, we read it right in the notes. Just follow the notes. Because I have just given two order conditions called MC is equal to MR and MC cuts MR from below. But in the notes, there is a rule 1 also where price or average revenue is more than average variable cost. Just follow the notes for it, but it's not depicted in the graphs here, right?
Yeah, it's not.
It's not
Or maybe
depicted.
their depiction is only if an average, they haven't shown AR at all in this. So
Yeah, they're not
yeah,
shown AR or average variable cost as well.
yeah.
So, but just read through the rule 1 because it's
Mm.
important. When if in the
Yeah, in
exam
case they
they
ask
ask,
us a theory question, it will
yeah,
be easier to answer.
yes. So we have completed the produce equilibrium for profit maximization goal under TR and TC approach along with diagram, MR and MC approach along with diagram. So what do we do in the next session?
The next session,
And
I thought we'll solve some numericals from national income, value added method, expenditure method, income method.
yes, so we can do
So there are about 15 numericals in my book.
okay,
I thought we could do that.
we can do, yeah. In national income, we have to solve what are the numericals? Can you just list it out?
Yeah, it is like find the total, 1 second. Find the total compensation paid to employees and all that.
Okay. So
Compensation
are
paid to
there
employees.
problems
Estimate
on
calculate operating surplus from the following data.
okay.
Operating surplus, yeah, and national income and NDP, national domestic product at market price by value added method. And from the following, calculate national income and gross national profit at market price by value added method. These are like the
So we know the value added method, the income method, the expenditure method also, right? Yesterday we did through in the last
yeah we
chapter
did.
of national
Yeah,
income.
we did
So
it.
we will be solving numericals on these. Any more numericals? We mentioned around 4. There are 15, right?
There are yeah there. Should I send you a photo of this later?
Yeah, that can be shared.
Yeah, I'll just send you a photo of all. There are some 25.
Okay.
I'll so in my book, I don't think the teacher has solved all the necessary ones. So
Okay.
that is from oh yeah, all 25 have been solved in the book.
In the notes, right? Okay.
Yeah, all 25 have been solved. So we have to do all 25.
So there mm, numericals based on expenditure method and income method as well.
Expenditure. Yeah. Yeah. From the following data, calculate gross national product at market price and net national product at factor cost by expenditure method.
Okay. And for income method, are there problems as well?
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
No, just to check.
And we know the formulas for most of
Yeah,
the.
find out national income and net domestic product at factor cost by income method from the following data.
Okay.
From the following data, calculate national income and gross domestic product at market prices by income method.
Yeah. So we will go through all the numericals. And are there numericals for GDP as well? For
Yeah,
GDP,
yeah.
real GDP and nominal
Find
GDP
the
as well.
GDP. Find the GDP at market prices.
Okay. And
They
for
have
real
only asked to find
GDP and nominal
GDP at
GDP.
uh, uh for calculate. No, they haven't said nominal GDP anywhere. They've only said GDP at market prices, and then GNP, gross national product. They
So are
haven't
there
said
numericals for other things like personal disposable income and personal income?
personal dispo. Yeah, they've asked us to calculate income method, national income, uh, GDP and national income GDP at FC. They've asked us to find GDP at FC in one question.
Okay.
Value, national income and GNP,
Okay.
national income and NDP at MP. They've asked us uh, operating surplus,
Okay.
and compensation to employees. The first 8 questions are about just compensation to employees.
Okay. So is there any formula for compensation to employees as well?
Yeah,
That is
they've
the.
in the notebook it says they haven't given any formula. They basically said anything paid to the employee by the employer is
Okay. Yeah, that is the
compensation to
compensation.
employees. But basically, if, any other money coming in, like claim from an insurance which is not
Yes.
paid by the employer, that is not considered because it is not paid by the employer for
Yes.
work.
Yes. It is not a compensation by the employer.
Hmm.
What can be termed as? It can be termed as um, income from other sources.
Yeah.
Okay. So are there any problems for circular flow? No, right? Because it's just
No, no, no. We just have to learn those 3 diagrams.
3 diagrams for 2, 3, and 4 sector models. So is it in the notes as well?
Yeah, we have done those 3 diagrams in the note.
Yeah, we have done it. Okay. And yeah, and for real GDP and nominal GDP, do we have to solve any numericals?
Yeah. Real GDP is GDP at FC, right?
Yeah, there's one nominal GDP. We calculate real GDP at constant prices, right?
Yeah.
And nominal GDP for that year specifically.
Market price.
Yes, at market price. So we went through in the PowerPoint presentation. We just go through it again. And we are coming to the end of this session.
Hmm.
And what time will we start the next session? Do you want
Today,
one more session today, or do you want it?
I mean, I don't mind another session, but I thought we have covered everything, right? What we wanted to do today.
Yes,
That's why.
yes,
I thought I'll sit and I'll go through everything we did. That's why.
sure. So we will
I'll
start.
be thorough with microeconomics by
Yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah,
I'll
sure.
finish the
So,
whole of
so
till
tomorrow we will
chapter 12.
start at 11.
Yeah. Can we start at 12? Okay,
Sure,
yeah, 11 is no 11
11
is
is
fine.
fine. So we'll have 2 sessions from 11 and one at 12.
Okay, done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.